Hello, everybody. This is Carrie with the Sassy Sisters.
And Kim.
Oh, yeah, there's Kim over there. You're listening to Society Bites Radio, and we are the Sassy Sisters.
We sure are.
Hey, Kim, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Got my vodka.
Vodka? What's mixed in it? It looks a little pink tonight.
Now it's actually kind of more of a Cosmo.
A Cosmo.
Earlier it was
she's drinking a Cosmo.
Sparkling water with it, but now I'm drinking a Cosmo.
She's graduated.
So what about you? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Pinot Grigio tonight.
Oh, you changed finally.
Yeah, all that Sangiovese, I don't know, I was turning red. So I thought I would try a little Pinot Grigio, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. I love the bottle. It's leopard skin. So
I love that bottle. That's me all day long. I've my whole life loved all the animal prints.
Yes.
I'm going to get me one of those.
I think that's because you're sassy.
Maybe so.
Is that? Yeah.
It could be.
Okay.
I was wearing it even when it wasn't cool anymore.
It was cool because you were wearing it.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. So tonight we have an amazing guest. We have our very own Mindy BUCKLEY with Bishop West Real Estate. Mindy grew up on an estate in Suffolk County, Long Island, New York. What's with Long Island, New York? Everybody's from
all
Long Island.
All our sisters this month.
They all came here and found us. Her father was employed as a caretaker chauffeur. We're going to talk about that. She has had a variety of careers. She's always been very successful. She's been married 6 times. I think we're going to get into that. 6. Yes, I said 6. And she's an award-winning realtor and happily married to the love of her life these days. And she and her husband live in Northport, Florida, and are caring for her mother, Audrey. So welcome, Mindy.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited.
I know. I'm excited.
You guys look like you're having a good time, so I'm glad to be invited.
We always have a good time.
Yep. It's always a good time. So, Mindy.
Yes.
We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's just dig right in.
Let's dig right in.
Okay.
Go for it.
So tell us about growing up. Like it says here that you grew up on an estate in Long Island. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I grew up on an estate, 250-acre estate that was owned by 2 sisters, and there were 2 mansions on the estate, and my dad was the caretaker chauffeur, and my mom was the chambermaid. And we were there for quite a few years. I went to private school thanks to the madam of the mansion.
Ooh, madam.
But what happened was the madam's sister died, unfortunately, and they rented that home to a wealthy blue blood divorcee. And my dad decided he liked her better than my mom.
No.
So, anyway, but the bad thing is also I was sexually abused. My dad was an alcoholic. He was a domestic abuser as well. So, all is good. So, we left the estate and we ended up on welfare. Mm-hmm. And my mom worked a job off the books to pay the bills and make sure we had clothing and so on and so forth. The good news is my mom actually met this amazing man who was an engineer for Grumman, and he was widowed with 6 children. My mom was divorced with 2, and they got married, and we moved out further on Long Island, and it was amazing. He was my stepdad for 44 years.
See, everything happens for a reason.
Ending.
So,
you
know, it's a good thing your dad did that. So you got away from him.
Absolutely.
And your mom found someone that was really wonderful.
C'est la vie, kick the bad stuff to the curb.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And you still live with your mom today. You're taking care of your mom right now, right?
I do, yes. My stepdad actually battled cancer for about 15 years, and my husband and I moved in with her when my dad passed away to help her, and we just completed an amazing renovation on her manufactured home. Mm-hmm. We now have the McMansion in the neighborhood. So we have a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,700 square foot manufactured home, and it's beautiful, and we all live happily together with our little dog, Dobie.
Dobie.
With the little dog, too.
With a little dog, yes.
So when you were younger, I've heard you mention that you didn't feel like you fit in, that you were a troubled kid. Tell us about that. I can imagine that there were some things going on.
Well, I was a bad girl. You hear of bad boys, but I was a bad girl. And here is the reason. So when my mom got divorced and it was just my brother and my mom and I, she was like my best friend. Mm-hmm. So then she met my dad, and then all of a sudden we were the Brady Bunch. And I was the middle child. And I was pissed off.
You wanted attention, didn't you?
I was pissed off. She was like my best friend, and now I
Right.
had to share her with all these other people. So I went on a rant, and I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. My grades are really good. I was student council president, had great grades and all that, but I hated school. I was more interested in hanging out on the smoker's corner with the older hippies, and my dream was to go to California. So I quit high school, and I left New York, and I ended up in Nashville. I ended up in Nashville with a girlfriend of mine who we hitchhiked together, and we met some really unsavory characters. So the short story is I ended up traveling with a professional thief for about 2 years. And that was not good. But I did get away from that professional thief, and he did try to follow me, and it's a long, sordid story.
Didn't he break into your house with a gun?
He broke into my house with a gun,
Oh, my.
dressed as a woman,
Oh, wow.
and knew that my mother was at the orthodontist with my brother, and said, if you don't come with me, I'm basically going to kill your mother. And so my sister argued with him, and I am not proud to say that I ran out of the house, left my sister with this crazy person, and barged into the house next door to call the police. But when I got back to the house, he was gone, and they found his car and his wig and his clothing at the train station in Port Jefferson, Long Island, New York, and we never heard from him after that. Dun,
Well.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, at least you never heard from him again, and your
Exactly.
mother didn't get hurt.
Nope,
so
she did not.
There you have it.
So, Mindy,
Yes.
tell us about when you got back. So you landed back on your feet. You went back with your parents. You
I
went
landed back on my feet. I quit high school, so I went back to high school, got my GED, and then I started my little marriage venture.
Did you ever
Marriage
make it to
adventure?
California?
Oh, yes. I made it
okay.
to California.
So
yes.
must be part of the story then.
Yeah, I mean,
with the thief.
no,
Did you-
I actually, I came back to New York, and then my very good friend, he was actually the brother of my girlfriend's boyfriend. We were good buds, and we got in my purple Volkswagen with the rusted out floorboards, and we set off to California because we had a job working in L.A., working at the factory where they made Liberace's clothes.
What?
So, yes. So we headed off in my Volkswagen with, like, the passenger seat was sitting on cinder blocks. You could see the street as we were traveling.
It's like a Flintstone car.
And we got all the way to Yuma, Arizona, and we were getting ready to get on Interstate 10. And we had been stopped and given a flyer about these little sand tornadoes. And so we were driving down the street in Yuma, and we saw the sand tornado coming up the sidewalk, and we both looked at each other and said, no, no, no. And we rolled our windows up really quick, but it was like in our hair, in our clothes, everywhere. It was so quick. So we got to the on-ramp at the interstate, and I said, can you stop? We just need to shake out everything before we get on the interstate. Well, apparently, I took my purse and I put it on the hood of the car and shook everything out. And we were traveling down Interstate 10, and I was like, oh, where's my purse? Where's my purse? So in my purse was, of course, all of our drug paraphernalia and our ID and all of our money.
Money.
So we got to San Diego. We went up to L.A., and my car was very interesting. To lock it, you had a padlock on the outside of the car, and then you had to roll the window up to be safe. And I look back on that now, and I'm saying, why weren't we killed? Why weren't we killed? So we got up and we called our new employer, and they said they had no idea who we are. They had no opening for us, and get the heck out of here. So we looked at each other and said, what are we going to do? So we went back to San Diego, and we had no money. We had no ID. We had nothing. So we were going to go to the mission, and I was like, no, they were dividing us, women and men on one side. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So we ended up at the Salvation Army. We gave blood to, get some cheeseburgers or whatever. And we could stay at the Salvation Army, which was very nice. They packed our lunch as long as we were out looking for a job. So he got a job at a gas station, and I got a job actually working at the Caldwell Banker regional office on Hotel Circle in San Diego.
Nice.
So you have to understand, all I owned was denim.
Oh, yeah.
I had a denim jumpsuit, I had a denim skirt, whatever. So I worked in the mailroom, and the funny thing about it was that I would do all the bulk mail for the 8 regional offices, and I would stamp them and put them in these big bags and throw them in the back of my Volkswagen. But my Volkswagen would only pop start. So when I got to work, I had to get out and put the concrete blocks down and then put 2x4s on the concrete blocks and drive my car up on it, put the emergency brake on, because when I left work to do my job and deliver my mail to the post office, I had to drive backwards, pop start, and then I could go. Put the emergency brake on, put the crap back in my car, and go on. So anyway, but that was the beginning of a great career, because I ended up being promoted to listing secretary or whatever. And it was a really good experience.
Does this happen to be the starting of your 6 marriages in California by any chance?
That was my first marriage. Yes.
Awesome.
That was my first marriage. And so he cheated on me, blah, 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 whatever, disappeared. And then I was there for about 6 years, I guess. And my mom and dad were in Florida. My dad worked for Grumman, and he was working on an Israeli gunboat in Lantana, Florida. And my mom sent me a letter and said, how would you like to be an only child for a while? Because he was working so much overtime, she was lonely. So I sold my Volkswagen, got on a plane, and moved to Lantana, Florida.
I have a question.
Yes.
Who the hell bought that Volkswagen?
And I don't honestly remember.
And you got enough money to buy a plane ticket?
My mom paid for the plane ticket.
Oh,
okay.
Show them how to open up with the paddle. Okay, got it.
What you see is what you get. I honestly don't remember.
That's
but
hilarious.
It was purple. That's all I remember. It was great. It was great. So I ended up moving back to West Palm Beach, Florida, and I got a job working for the I can't remember the name of the company now. It was the first satellite TV company, and we were right next door to the National Enquirer is where I worked. And that's where I met my second husband, who was recruited from New Orleans to be the research and development person at this company. So I met him, we got married, blah, blah, blah. And then that job ended. He ended up teaching for the National Institute of Technology. That branch closed, and we had the option of moving to another area. And because he was from Birmingham, and there was a school in Birmingham, that's where we moved. Alabama. I was there for 12 years. It wasn't fun. So anyway, yeah. So go ahead.
You had an interesting career, though, in Alabama, didn't you?
I did. I worked for a company called Condor Corporation, which was the first company to automate pharmacy management. So this company was started by 3 college friends. So we had the programmer, the marketer, and then the hardware person. But it was the best job I ever had. I mean, it was great. We had no local customers. The president was a marathon runner. We had personal trainers on site. We had Weight Watchers on site.
Nice.
We were casual all the time. We partied all the time, and it was really it was a great place to work. And their first deal was they had this huge mainframe computer, and they pushed it up onto their Volkswagen bus, and they did a demo at Eckerd's, and they got the job. And so it was Eckerd's, Albertsons, Rite Aid,
Wow.
Cash and Carry. It just exploded.
Great.
Yeah. So And then while I was there, because I didn't fit in with anybody in Alabama, imagine that. Like I had moved there from California where I wore, a bra top, no underwear, a long skirt, and flip-flops. And to be accepted there, you had to wear cake makeup, a 3-piece skirt suit, and heels to the grocery store and go to church 3 nights